So if you guys are a long viewer of my channel, remember that I installed a Cerwin-Vega spare tire subwoofer into my 2022 Subaru BRZ, again, codename Sylvie. And with that video, Cerwin-Vega actually saw it and reached out to me and said, hey, you know, we'd love to send some speakers out to you to review. So again, we're going to be installing those Cerwin-Vega HED series speakers into my buddy's 2006 Honda Civic. It's something that I had planned for the WRX. I was going to put the Cerwin-Vega 6.5 inches in the doors, and then some tweeters as well as an amplifier for the WRX. You know, diving into the WRX with, you know, the Harman Kardon premium sound, you know, the whole OEM upgrade, that it just didn't work out. You know, plugging everything in, trying to use adapters and things like that. You know, I was like, you know, it's really not the best thing to try to upgrade an OEM audio. So, you know, I had my buddy who just bought a Civic, and I was just like, hey, let me just install these into my buddy's Civic to give him a sound upgrade, because I think he's even missing a couple speakers on his Civic. All right, guys, so here are the speakers right here. I have the 6.5s. These guys are highly affordable for anyone that's looking for a speaker upgrade. It's not, you know, breaking the bank. These guys right here, I think, are like 60 bucks, and this one is like 50 bucks. So in total, this is like under $200 as far as like an audio upgrade. So looking at the 6.5 inches, I haven't started on these guys, but you can kind of see the build quality on it is really nice. You have the rubber woofer right here, and then you have the little tweeter because it is a component speaker, and then the same thing at the bottom. It's a huge magnet. It feels substantially heavier, I'm assuming, than OEM. I have the little adapters here that I'll leave a link in the description. You're also going to need your adapters, and I do also have an amplifier sent out again from Cerwin-Vega, so it is perfectly matched these speakers. So the plan is, you know, of course, putting the 6.5 inches in the doors, in the two doors, and then hooking up that amplifier. So for the Civic, he already has an Android like head unit there. So, you know, I'm going to be learning how to wire that up and, you know, teaching you guys along the way. I think that the speaker install is going to be pretty straightforward. Okay, so starting with this, the passenger side door for this door speaker, the 6.5 inch here, we're going to be taking off the door panel. There's going to be a screw right here behind this little tab that's here. So you want to take that off, and then there's going to be another screw that is right behind this door handle. So all you got to do is pretty much pull up on this back part and then kind of pull it out. And then from there, you're going to want to pull at the door panel to take the whole door off. And once you do that, you can go ahead and just hit and lift it up, just straight up. You're going to have two cables that are still connected. So you want to go ahead and push this to release the door handle cable. Lift that right out. This is just going to be pushed down. This kind of goes like a swivel, just like that. And this is going to go out. And then for this guy, I already did it, but you're going to need a pick to push this down and push it out. Just like that. And then you can go ahead and remove this guy the same way you did the door handle one. And this one goes up. And you want to be very careful when you're doing this, because if you do break this, your door locks aren't going to work anymore. All right, and as you can see, I'm not sure how this happened, but he bought this car without speakers. I do see that there's a wiring harness for aftermarket speakers, so I'm assuming that the seller really liked his speakers or something and took them out. So luckily we have the Cerwin-Vega speakers going into this guy. I did buy a mounting bracket for here, so I'm gonna be able to kind of mount it here nice and professionally without drilling into you know, the door panel. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for the mounting bracket as well as the Cerwin-Vega speakers for you guys to pick up. All right, so I went ahead and mounted it. All I need to do is, before I put this in, to put on the little hardware to go right here, so I can go and screw it in. And then for your positive and negative terminals, you want to just make sure that, of course, the big one goes to the big side, the positive, and the small one goes to the negative. And if you feel they're a little loose, it's best habit to grab a plier and just kind of push on them to make sure they're not going to come loose. So for the rear deck, it's really easy. All you have to do is grab a pry tool from the outer side and just kind of pry it up. It's going to have some little clips. Now this one, it looks like it has a old school Pioneer, and we're going to be able to use the mounting bracket for it. All right, now that we have the Cerwin-Vega speaker, we can go ahead and mount it right in. And after that, we're pretty much done. We just put back on the cover, and it's going to be the same for the passenger or the driver side for both speakers, the rear deck and the door speaker. All right, guys, so I went ahead and removed the Android head unit right here, and it kind of exposed everything as far as the wiring. That's the wiring harness for the Android head unit, and then it also has all the factory connectors right here. So what I did was I took the speaker wires directly from the factory harness. So as you can see here, if I pull out the amplifier, it'll kind of show what I did. So these guys right here, it's directly going to the speakers, right into the harness of the factory harness. So that's of the output of the kicker amplifier. As you can see there, it's going from the output to these guys right here directly to the speakers in the harness. And then the input, I have some RCA connectors right here. I got these on Amazon. They're kicker, RCA connector splicers. They turn into like actual wires. So I'll leave a link in the description where you can pick these up. But yeah, it kind of turns it into 2 wires. From those, I just matched up the correct speaker wires to the inputs. So as you can see here, same colors. And then as well, again, just looking at the Android harness from, the greens and the purples and just matching them up to the inputs of the amplifier. But once I did that, I also connected the power harness directly into the power harness of, the factory radio, as well as the negative harness right into the negative of the factory radio as well. So most audio guys will look at this saying that I wired it wrong, but just to get it running, just to have some power, I don't mind doing it this way. This is exactly the way I did it with Sylvie, and I have had no issues with it so far. So with the Civic, I went ahead and did a test run and kind of adjusted. So for the sensitivity and the high pass filter on the amplifier, I did leave it to kind of like mid-range on the high pass filter as for the rear and the front. And then for the sensitivity, I kind of left it to kind of in the midway point, but more or less to the 6 volts. Did a test run and it sounds completely fine without any distortion. So that's exactly how I set it up. Kind of increased the volume, checked for distortion, kind of turned it down, and just kept going until I found it a good spot. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck everything back up. All right, guys, so I would say it's a pretty accessible install, listening to the music, listening to the power output of, the Cerwin-Vega speakers with the amplifier. I feel like, with the test run that I did without the amplifier makes a huge difference. You can play it at higher volumes and it doesn't distort. The bass, when I do put it to a, bass heavy music, you do feel it, and I would say this is a really good speaker upgrade for those that are on a budget, someone that doesn't really want to break the bank. Cause I think the amplifier itself is like $130. So it's not, it's not going to, kill the bank. It's not expensive at all. I'll be leaving, links in the description for you guys to pick them up. I would say this is great for you guys that want components, or sorry, coaxial speakers with the amplifier. What I would say this system is really missing is a subwoofer, and that's kind of what I was telling my friend. I was like, hey, you really need a subwoofer because it sounds really amazing, but once you start putting a little bit more bass into those door speakers, they will distort because that's not really what they're made for. So I'm gonna be recommending him getting a subwoofer, and who knows, maybe we'll have an install on this channel. But I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully in the future there's many more reviews on products that companies send out to me. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next one.